So obviously the aviation industry has been kind of a bit battered in this pandemic. So tell me a little bit about you were working for Qantas up till March, I think, and what happened in terms of you standing down the fleet in Qantas and why you're here now as a flight instructor.
That's absolutely correct, Alex. So stood down in March of this year with a number of other employees from Qantas. Was very fortunate at that, being involved with the Aero Club here for the previous 25 or so years and having an instructing background. The club extended the olive branch, so to speak, and invited me to join the ranks of their flying instructors here at Warrnambool Airport.
So that must be hard. I mean, you obviously have pilot colleagues and things. How do pilots keep active if they don't actually be able to do their craft?
That's a great question too, Alex. So normally when we're at work, we are required to go into the simulator a couple of times each year. In the current environment, that's not going to happen. So I've got a number of colleagues who either elected to find work at flying schools or find work in other professions such as driving heavy machinery, working in retail and the like. So I'm very fortunate to have this option to continue flying.
So do you miss the big planes?
Yes and no. Aeroplanes, and I've got a very fortunate role in Qantas in that I fly the 787 Dreamliner. But having said that, that's one aspect of flying for Qantas. Socialising, keeping in touch with the crew, and the friendships you form and have. That's just as important too.
So, I guess Qantas's loss is the gain for the Central Coast. So, how do you see the aviation industry, especially with smaller regional airports, kind of evolving?
I think that in the current environment, yes, there is a downturn in the airline flying as such. However, traditionally in aviation, there have been peaks and troughs in the industry with terms of growth and employment and rehiring. So I certainly see in the years to come that there are opportunities for flying schools now to continue training pilots for when that next wave of hiring and employment happens with the larger carriers.
So last week there was Qantas's 100 years jubilee. And on that day, your son also had his first solo flight. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so my son James turned 15 on Monday, which is Qantas's birthday as well, and had just happened to be their 100th anniversary. So it was quite proud for me as a father working here at the flying school at Warrnambool. One of our other instructors, Andrew Smith, has been teaching James through his theory flying and lessons, and I've actually had some flying lessons with James as well. So I had the opportunity to do some of James's training and brought him out here before school on Monday morning, did a check whether he was proficient and safe in the circuit, and he demonstrated to me that he could actually do that safely, fly the airplane on his own. And so I had the great honour to be able to send my son on his 15th birthday and on Qantas's centenary on his very first solo flight. So I was a very proud dad.
I can imagine. So how did you get into flying?
I got into flying. I was introduced by my grandmother at my age of 5 when she took me on an overseas trip. That was my first exposure to flying, and since that time I was pretty well set on flying as a career.
So what do you think about, I mean, obviously, how do you interact like with the community here? Is that something like you're interested? I mean, are there some entrepreneurs, and how can get more people into flying? Because it seemed to always be, I guess, people are a bit afraid of the costs and things like that. So what would you recommend to a young kid that wants to get into flying?
Certainly, that's a great question, Alex. I would encourage parents to bring their children out to the airport, not necessarily to go flying, but to even just to see the airplanes, look at them flying around the sky. We offer trial introductory flights here at Warrnambool. We've got a crew of 8 instructors. I do apologise for the noise, one of the airplanes taxiing in. We've got a crew here of 8 dedicated instructors, and we are able to provide a facility here on the Central Coast for flight training. The other options for learning to fly usually mean going to Sydney, but we're thankfully not down that way. So I would certainly encourage people, if they're interested in flying, come out and say hello, just have a coffee and come and have a chat.
So you're thinking of going back when flying resumes, so in terms of going back to Qantas and going back into that job?
Certainly. So when the international markets open up again, hopefully in the next 12 months or so, Qantas will slowly begin standing up their pilots. So I'm hoping for that opportunity when it arises to go back to work flying the 787 in some capacity. Having said that, Alex, I'm thoroughly enjoying flying in general aviation again, offering some skills and in an instructional capacity as well. So my intention would be to continue flying the 787, but also instructing here at Warrnambool Airport.
And it must have been good for you to have some more time with the family.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the normal routine for me would be going away on a 7 or 8 day trip, spending a lot of time away from home. So this time, and now that I'm only 5 minutes away from home, probably spending more time at home. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for my son, he might say otherwise. Dad, you're home too much. I don't know. But in any case, closer to home, and it's a great opportunity. I'm very, very fortunate that the guys and girls here at Warnervale have extended that olive branch to me to instruct here.
Thanks for talking to us, CCN.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you. Bye-bye.